All right, Lula. Well, first off, how is your summer going so far? Any fun vacations so far?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago I was in Wisconsin for my sister's wedding, but other than that, I've just had work and I've been coaching for my former high school team's summer training program. So been busy with that, but yeah, it's been good.
Very cool. Well, Lula, let's try to get you to know you better as a person. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, we don't know much about you, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 19. I'm from Prior Lake, Minnesota. Let's see. I've played hockey since I was about 3 years old, so that's been a big part of my life. I'm actually going to be a sophomore this year at ASU. I'm transferring from University of Wisconsin Eau Claire, so super excited to get down there. It'll be a little bit different, but yeah.
How did you get into hockey, Lula? Tell us a little bit about your hockey background and your hockey story.
Um, I think I grew up. My dad always watched the Minnesota Wild, and it was just always on TV. So I asked him like I want to do that, and so they got me into skating, and yeah, the rest is kind of history. I pretty much have played ever since.
There you go. Awesome. Describe your hometown of Prior Lake, Minnesota. I mean, not, I feel like not a lot of people have been there, especially, us being from Arizona. So describe your hometown. What is there to do there?
Um, well, it's kind of in the name, the lake. I feel like that's a big part of it, but it's a suburb just about 20 minutes south of Minneapolis. So bigger town. I don't know. We've got, I don't know. I don't really know what we have. Just shops and the lake, pretty much. That's about it. But yeah.
Okay, there you go. Um, did you play any other sports besides hockey growing up? Obviously you mentioned the lake. Any lake sports?
No, I was never really into that, but I I don't know. I played softball when I was little. I golfed a little bit, but I kind of just mostly been hockey focused my whole life. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Growing up, you mentioned the Minnesota Wild. They're in your area, obviously. Did you root for that team? Did you root for any players specifically? Do you model your play after any of those players? Tell me a little bit about that.
Um, I don't know that I necessarily model my play after any of them intentionally, but I just Marcus Foligno has always been my favorite player on the Wild, or at least in recent years. But yeah, that's definitely always been my top team. I don't know. I like the Kings too because my uncle lives in LA, but other than that, yeah.
So this past season, as you mentioned, you played with the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. How do you think your past season went personally?
Pretty good. So I left after the first semester, so I didn't finish the whole season there. But I did have a great experience with the hockey side of Eau Claire. Absolutely loved it. Couldn't say enough great things about my coach there, especially. So it really was a positive experience. But I just realized it wasn't quite the right fit for me, so that's why I decided to leave. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, you mentioned, this is a NCAA D3 team that you're transferring from. What kind of made you decide to transfer all the way from Wisconsin to ASU, especially in terms of teams?
Yeah, so when I left, I came back to Prior Lake and I was fortunate enough to get to coach the JV team for my high school. And in that time, when I left, I kind of thought, okay, I'm done with hockey, I guess. Like I'll just be a coach and involve myself in other ways. And within the few months, I was like, shoot, I really miss it. I can't be watching these girls. Like I need to be playing. So I called my Eau Claire coach and I asked him, how can you help me? Is there anything? Do you have any advice for me? I do want to keep playing. And he kind of was walking through all my options and whatnot. And he mentioned, he's like, I don't know if you know much about the ACHA. He's like, the only like really good team I can think of on the top of my head is ASU, but you should really look into it. It's not a bad idea at all. Like there's some awesome opportunities. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. And of course, it's the only one he mentioned. So I looked it up and I was lucky enough. ASU has an aviation program, which is what I want. I've always wanted to go into that. And then when I got into recruiting, I kind of pushed it to the side just so I could play. But as soon as I realized ASU has that and they have this team, I'm like, okay, this could be something really good. So, yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned that, your coach said that ASU was the only good ACHA team that he realized. And you mentioned, looking at all the schools, like, ASU kind of was the one for you. You know, you could have gone to any school, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
what made you choose ASU specifically?
Well, so when I came on my visit, I had looked at a few other schools around closer to home. I never imagined that I'd end up so far, but I told my mom, like, I don't know, I just have a good feeling about it. I want to go look. And so when we went, I just absolutely loved it. Loved the campus, loved the area, loved the coach. It was just a good experience. So, yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned Coach Lindsay Ellis. And I'm sure you met some of the other players on the team. Well, how were your first impressions on the from the team and the coaches? What was it like meeting them?
Yeah, so I actually haven't met any of the players. I This was kind of all more recent that my commitment happened, just because I was a transfer and trying to figure out what my plan would be. So I really only met Lindsay, but she was phenomenal, and I had a great time talking with her. She seems super down to earth, and from what I've seen and heard from other people, I have some friends who are like, "Oh yeah, I know this girl or that girl that plays there." Everyone's just told me, I feel like you'll absolutely love the girls. It seems like a great culture. So that was something that drew me in, kind of.
Awesome. You mentioned aviation was your major. What is your dream job related to aviation?
I'm My dream job and what I'm hoping to do is to go into commercial airlines, professional flight. So hoping to work for Delta or United, something like that.
Was there anything in particular, that you liked about Arizona? Is there something you're looking forward to about living in Arizona?
Well, obviously the weather. I feel like that's kind of especially coming from Minnesota, the expected answer there. But no, I feel like when we were walking around, the one thing I just kept saying to my mom, I was like, I'm never gonna be bored here. Like everyone here, just everywhere you look, there's something to do. No matter what season it is, it's always kind of the same, I guess. Not quite, but you know what I mean. It's You can always be outside doing something, and so that was really cool to me. Obviously, aside from the program itself, the hockey program, um, that's probably what I liked most about the campus.
Awesome. Good to hear. Yeah, I mean, you hit it right in the head. I mean, you never really get bored here. There's the weather's, aside from being 100 degrees, like during the summer, like you can go outside whenever you want. It's awesome.
Right.
Um, what are you looking forward to most about this upcoming season? Obviously, it's ASU's first season as an independent team. So, is there something in particular you're looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm just really excited for a fresh start. Not that necessarily I have negative feelings attached to Eau Claire, but it wasn't quite the right place for me. So I'm excited to establish myself on a new team and get to know the girls. I know there's a lot of new players this year, so it'll be an interesting dynamic, with so many new players, new faces from all over. So I'm really excited to get to know the team, and uh, obviously now that we're independent, to have some good competition.
Yeah, it should be fun. And yeah, I think this is the most amount of new players I've had, like I've covered this for the past 3 seasons. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um, Final question for you, Lula. What else should fans know about you, and what do you think you bring to this ASU team?
yeah. One of the biggest things that I've found with coaching and playing with, various teams, biggest things that I've found to be true is that, a player or a leader's good attitude, positive energy to a group plays a way bigger role than like your individual skills. And not to say that that's not important, but I think that's something that I take a lot of pride in is, holding myself to a high standard with creating good relationships with my teammates, and I take a lot of pride in being, the hardest working that I possibly could be at everything I do. So I hope that brings a good, I don't know, dynamic to the team.